Hello and welcome back to Totally Abstracted. I'm Michelle and this is the podcast where we talk about the winding, emotional and often surprising journey of making expressive abstract landscape art that actually feels like you. Today I want to talk about something that's been on my mind lately, confidence, and how we build it slowly as we learn to trust ourselves creatively. This is a conversation about making art without second guessing every move, about letting go of those shoulds that whisper at us while we work, and about showing up as we are in our art and letting that be enough. And as always, I'll share a bit about what's happening in my own studio, because all this has been stirred up again as I return to a medium that really helped me let go of perfectionism and start painting from the inside out, and that medium is cold wax. So let me take you back a few years. The first time I used cold wax medium, it changed something in me. I'd been moving away from realism and the need to get things right, inverted commas. I wanted to stop reaching for some invisible standard and instead reach for something more. And when I used oils and cold wax medium together for the first time, I felt I'd found my way. Cold wax medium taught me how to respond rather than plan, to add, subtract, cover, scrape back, without fear of ruining a painting. It gave me a way into abstract landscapes that felt open and intuitive. For the first time, I wasn't trying to paint what something looked like. I was finally painting how it felt. And that felt like freedom, messy and uncertain, but still freedom. I still remember creating my first cold wax piece. I didn't know where it was heading when I started. I just knew I wanted to feel my way through it. I had my oils, a bit of cold wax, but no clear plan, just to pull to explore. So I began with broad sweeps of dark green and black, then softened with veils of pale mint and soft white. I used a palette knife and a catalyst wedge to move the paint around, carving back into it with lines and marks I didn't fully understand at the time, but I just trusted. There was this moment midway through where the whole piece felt like it was breathing, as if the landscape wasn't just appearing, but emerging. And even though I didn't know what I was doing technically, I could feel I was onto something, that I wasn't just painting some sort of view, I was painting a sensation, something quiet and internal that was being made visible. Now I'll show a photo of the piece in the show notes. I love it, not because it's flawless, but because it marks the moment that I started listening to my instincts instead of my inner critic. And I think that's the crux of it for so many of us. We wait for confidence before we create, but confidence doesn't show up like that. It doesn't knock on the door and say, right, I'm here, let's go. It shows while you're creating. It sneaks in when you let go of control, when you stop needing to know where something is going. And abstract landscape work in particular thrives in that place, the unknowing, the edge of possibility. Now that doesn't mean we throw out skill or intention. It just means we don't let them rule the show. We learn techniques to support expression, not to restrict it. Over the last few years, I've wandered through all sorts of materials: acrylics, gouache, soft pastels, pan pastels, layered mixed media, and all kinds of tools. Each one has taught me something. I've learned how to use veils for softness, to shape energy with bold marks, to trust my instincts about colour and composition even when I couldn't explain them. There was a phase, maybe you've had one too, where I went off in a totally different direction and started painting portraits. And some of these were geometric. The others were more loose and expressive, more like my abstract landscape style, but I couldn't explain why I needed this completely new phase. It definitely stretched me, and it taught me that my voice isn't confined to one particular look. Because your voice is not the style or palette you use, or even the subject matter. It's something underneath all that, a sensibility that carries through whatever form it takes. And now here I am again, painting abstract landscapes in cold wax medium. But I'm not the same artist who picked up cold wax medium the first time round. I'm still layering, but with a better sense of value, with a clearer feeling about mood and light. I understand composition more deeply. I know what I want a piece to feel like before I begin, even if I don't yet know how it will look. Basically, I'm bringing in what I learned from all those other phases. I'm bringing in everything I've gathered along the way, and it feels like a return, but also like a new beginning. I know so many of us wrestle with confidence. We wonder if we're good enough. We worry that we're doing it wrong, more inverted commas. Especially in abstract landscape work, where we're often departing from how something really looks to express something quite different. But confidence isn't the absence of doubt. It's the willingness to keep going with the doubt. It's learning to trust your instincts even when your inner critic is shouting. 2 years ago, I entered 3 pieces into an open art competition and exhibition. There was one in particular, a piece called Distant Summit, that I wasn't sure about. I'd made some last minute changes, submitted it anyway, but I was riddled with doubt. A few days later, I saw a post about the exhibition on Facebook. They'd shared some of the artwork that had been submitted, and none of mine were featured. The pieces they did show, well, in my eyes, they were far better than anything I'd created. My stomach dropped. The imposter syndrome came in hard. I started spiralling, questioning everything. My work, my worth, whether I should have entered at all. We were meant to go to the exhibition opening that weekend, where they'd be announcing the winner, but I couldn't do it. I'd made myself so anxious I felt physically ill. I was too embarrassed to show my face. So I stayed home. The next morning I woke up to an email telling me the Distant Summit, the one I doubted the most, had won first place. I couldn't believe it. I was over the moon, totally stunned, and honestly a bit sad too. Sad that I hadn't believed in myself enough to go, sad that I'd missed the chance to connect with people who might have actually loved my work. I'd let self-doubt stop me from showing up. And that's what lack of confidence does. That's what comparing ourselves to others can do. It makes us shrink, hide, and sabotage our own joy. So if you're in a place right now where you're feeling wobbly, wondering if your art matters, or if you're even allowed to call yourself an artist, please hear this. You don't have to wait for confidence to show up before you start creating, or before you start believing in yourself. It builds through the making. It grows in the quiet decisions, the ones where you choose to keep going even when you're full of doubt, even when you make something you hate, and even when your inner critic is shouting louder than anything else. Confidence isn't loud. It's that gentle, persistent voice inside, the one that knows what it wants to say, even if it can't explain it yet. I know your journey won't be straight. It'll twist and turn and lead you places you didn't plan for, but that's what makes it yours. So here's a gentle prompt for you, something to bring you into your studio or sketchbook. Think back to a medium or method that once made you feel free, even just a little bit. What would happen if you revisited it now with everything you've learned since? And another question, what would you create if you knew no one would ever see it? No judgment, no audience, just you and the work. Sometimes that's where your truest voice is waiting. Thank you for listening. I hope something in this episode gave you a little nudge, a reminder that confidence grows with you, that you don't need to be certain to begin, and that you are allowed to create without compromise. If you're curious what I've been making with Cold Wax Medium, there's a new video up on YouTube. And if you want a warm, supportive place to share your work, my free artist community Abstract Horizons is open. We have monthly masterclasses, demos, challenges, Q&As, and a lovely group of creatives cheering each other on. So until next time, keep layering, keep exploring, and know this, you're doing better than you think. Trust your process, trust yourself, and stay totally abstracted.